Today I'm going to talk about media list building and why most people who teach media list building teach it wrong. So if you can't be bothered watching this, the way that most people teach how to build a media list is to search for headlines similar to the one you're pitching in Google News, to find stories that are similar to what you're going to pitch, to find out which journalist has written that story, to then check their beat and make sure it matches what you're writing about, and then to build your list that way. Unless you have absolutely no idea what type of outlets you want to approach, so, either like a specific industry publication, specific topics or beats or specific locations, then I think that this approach is way too time consuming. And instead, I prefer to think about the type of outlets that I want to approach, go to those outlets directly, go navigate to the topic that matches what I'm going to pitch, and then just add the journalists who are currently writing about that topic to my list. And that is a much quicker and just much better way of building your lists. So I'm now going to go into each of these techniques into more detail and describe what they are and what they're trying to do. So I'm going to talk about the sort of traditional topic first approach, which is what most people do and what most people teach, and what I also think is, well, it has its uses, it's not actually that great. Anyway, so you type in a headline similar to the headline that you're going to pitch with the aim of finding journalists who have covered and who regularly cover your pitch topic. So, for example, I've put together a report on the amount of money someone needs to save each month to have enough of a deposit to buy a home by the age of 25 based on their current age and the location that they live. This is the report. So it's called Achieved by 35, and based on your location and your current age, it tells you how much you need to save each month to have enough money to put down a house deposit by 35 years old. And it goes through like all the cities in the UK, right? So the two headlines that I'm going to pitch are, here's how much money you need to save each month to be a homeowner by 35. And I'm going to just pitch national findings and findings in like the biggest cities in the UK. And then how much money you need to save each month by the time you're 25 to buy a home by 35 in place. So this is for loan papers. So with the topic first approach, I want to think about some headlines that speak to the same audience as the topic that I'm pitching. So in this instance, it's people who are looking to buy their first home. So the headlines that I've come up with to stick in Google News are the cheapest place to buy your first home, how to save for a house deposit, how to avoid stamp duty as a first-time buyer, how much you need to get on the property ladder. So the cheapest place to buy a home, this is what you get when you stick it in Google News. I've put it to the last 6 months. And some of the stories that I get are this, and some of the journalists that I get then this and this. Other stories are this, and this is the journalist. And then I've also got this, and this is the journalist. So you then go through the journalist bios. So do they write about like money or property? So yeah, she writes about money, she writes about property, so I would add her to my list. So Vicky Shaw, Vicky. Then I would look up her email and I would add her bio. I've got so many videos in building media lists, how to like find email addresses and all of that shit. So then I would do the same with her. Alicia Hag, whatever her name is. She actually doesn't really write about our beat, so she's irrelevant. So that's one gone. Vicky Shaw we've got already. We've done already. Annabelle Williams, the journalist for the. Yeah, this is perfect. She'd be perfect. So she writes about property and money. So you can then add her. Annabelle Williams. Annabelle. I'm not going to go into finding email addresses in this video. I've got so many videos on it. Graham Norwood. So this is more of like a B2B thing. But I think it would be okay, so we can put him in. So, oops. Graham Norwood. Graham. Cool. So that's that one done. So the next one would be how to save for a deposit. So these are the stories that come up. So I've just clicked on the first few. So there we've got one. Kate Staines. Graham Norwood, that's the same guy, so we can delete him. Brandon Russell. And Olivia Marshall. So Kate Staines. Yeah, nice. Okay, yeah. So she writes about property and money, so she'd be perfect. So Kate Sains, sorry, not Kate Staines. Kate Sains. Kate. So delete that. Brandon Russell. This is more just about money than about property, so I'm going to say no. What is this anyway? IFA magazine. So you can go through the mortgage and property thing. Then let's try Jenny Hunter. You see, you're already seeing why the outlet first approach works, because we're actually getting people who write about the thing that we're pitching right now, whereas that Brandon Russell guy, he just wrote about our thing as a one-off. It's not actually his beat. So, sorry, what was the guy's name again? Jenny Hunter. There we go. The final one is Olivia Marshall, senior consumer reporter. What does it cost to use an electric heater? So she does more about shopping, so I'm going to say no to that. Delete group, how to avoid stamp duty. So these are the stories that come up. So I've just opened the first few, so we go back to here. Brandon Russell, we've had him already. Stuart Collar Brown. This isn't really getting us anywhere. I'm just going to delete this one. Georgie Frost, editor at large. So she'd be okay. She doesn't actually write that much about property, so I'm going to say no. Again, it's not really her beat. It's just a one-off. Adele Cook. Again, it's like more of like how to save money as a consumer, like consumer rights and stuff. I'm going to say no. Again, as you see, we're getting a lot of people who have written about our article, about the topic that we're writing once, but it's not actually their beat. This is actually quite a good one. I'm going to add her. So Jessica Sharp. Cool. And then the final one is how much to get on the property ladder. So these are the articles that came up. I found this one. How buying with a friend could get on the property ladder. Gillian Harvey. So then we go Gillian Harvey, Journalist Times. I don't know if that's the same person. No, I didn't really follow our beat. It was just a one-off. Alice Giddings on the Metro. Sex and relationships reporter. So yeah, again, not really relevant to our beat. So no. Anna White and Nure Balbal. Anna White writes quite a lot about property news, so she's a good one. So we can go White, Anna. There's no email to hand, but I would be able to get it. Nure Balbal, US politics, showbiz, exhibitions, UK. So again, she's not too relevant to our beat. So from 4 keywords, admittedly, like I haven't scraped the shit out of it. With 4 keywords, I managed to get this. So, one advantage of this topic first way of building a media list is that it can be the starting point for finding similar PR campaigns to yours, which you can then either Google or plug into Ahrefs. So a common PR topic in property is ranking the most and least affordable place in the UK or in whatever country you're working in. So this is an example of that. Research from the Telegraph. Okay, that's not a good example. That's not good either. New research from Zoopla. That's not link to anything. But anyway, you can find journalists using operators like Research From and stuff like that to find journalists who have covered PR campaigns similar to yours. So chatbuy.com. And then you can stick them into Ahrefs and build your list that way. But I still think that it's not a great way of building a media list. And the main reason for this is just time. So you need to double check all your journalists using their bio or muck rack. As you've seen from my experience, there's going to be loads of instances where journalists write about your topic once, but it's not actually their beat. And these aren't actually good journalists to add to your list. And also, it's not that easy to find these like seed headline keywords. It's not like normal keyword research where you take a seed keyword and plug it into like Ahrefs and it will just shit out loads of results. You need to actually think of good headlines and headlines that people have written about, which is harder than you'd imagine, especially if you don't do it regularly. And if you start off with shit keywords, you're just going to end up with a shit list. So, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. It takes loads of time. It's just not a good approach. It's only a good approach if you have no idea like what outlets you want to target, or if you're in a niche where you're looking for very specific industry publications rather than like mainstream news. So what I prefer to do is the outlet first approach. And this is where you Google the type of outlet that you want to target, and then you go into the paper itself and you search for the relevant journalists within the paper. So going back to our example of Keys by 35, I know that I want to target property writers in the mainstream national press, property magazines, and then community, property, and personal finance writers in the regional press. And for them, I would just pitch them the regional angle. So for national papers, I would start by just going to Wikipedia and searching list of newspapers in the UK. And I would just Google all of these. So I'm just going to use the example of the Express and the Mirror. Here's the Express. I have just Googled the Express and gone to the Express. And I'm then looking for the property section. So finance, personal finance is an option. And is there no property section? Most newspapers have a property section. Property, perfect. So we've got personal finance and we've got property. And then I would just look through articles that are similar to what I want to write. So there's one. These are about pensions. Maybe property will be a bit more better. No, this is more about like how to look after your home. Yeah, there's another one. There's another one. There's another one. There's another one. Cool. And then Samantha Downs. Just click on journalist. Samantha Downs. Alex Evans. Max Parry. Oliver Lewis. Katie Elliott. And then you do the same. You just look like, is this person relevant? So state pension, personal and company pensions, mortgages. So yes, Samantha Downs is a good one. So Samantha Downs. Alex Evans, personal finance, gardening, TV, food. Yeah, he writes about personal finance, so he is relevant. So Max Parry, not really that relevant. So we can discard that one. This is Oliver Lewis, so then we just go Oliver Lewis, journalist, because he doesn't have a bio page. We can look at the mock crack. He writes more about business, so we're going to say no to him. Katie Elliott, senior personal finance reporter. So yes, definitely relevant. So Katie Elliott. Cool. And then we can do the same with the Sun. So the Sun, money, open a new tab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. Adele Cook. There's a senior consumer reporter, so consumer's not really what we want. James Flanders, also a consumer reporter. Not really what you want. Hila Khatib. Yeah, she writes a lot about personal finance. I'm going to say yes to her. Khatib. Jonathan Rose. Nick Hoffman, political correspondent, not really what we want. He writes generally about news. So that wasn't as good, admittedly. But yeah, that's for the national press. So for industry press, industry press, I've just Googled Property Magazine UK. From that, I've gotten to here and here. So yeah, you can see this guy's relevant. He's written all these stories. So Mark Da Silva. So I'll add him to our list. Mark Da Silva. Mark. We've got that Graham Norwood guy again. He was already on our list, wasn't he? But that's industry press done. Then the regional example, I've used Manchester Evening News. So for the regional nest, I just Googled news in relevant region. So that should be relevant region. So I've just Googled news in Manchester, and I've gotten 3 that are papers. So I've gotten the Manchester Evening News, I've gotten the Manchester World, and I've gotten News Manchester. And then you just want to look at, let's say we're doing it for Manchester. You just want to look at Manchester news. So you just go to Manchester. Then you just want to find ones that have written about stuff to you. So do that one. We can do that one. Oops. Do that one. Do that one. You find he's a politics writer, so we don't really want him. We want like community writers, local democracy reporters. We want. Yeah. So Ethan Davies. That one was also written by Ethan Davies. And then you can also go to, let's move this, let's go to the contact us page of thing. So yeah, just Sarah and Esther. Now you would have never got this with the you'd have never got this with the topic first. The topic first approach. The topic first approach is terrible for local angles. If you're doing a local angle, you always want to go for this outlet first approach. So the Manchester Evening News, we say goodbye to. This next one is Manchester World. So let's see, they have a property section. They don't, but they've got a news section. So we can go news. Let's go people or just news in general. or lifestyle, property, perfect. Garden. So are there any ones that are specific to Manchester? There's one. There's two. There's three. And then just general Manchester news as well. So go away. So there's one. There's two. Cool. So let's see. We've written these. Charlie Watts. Usually writing about Bristol's housing, pubs, transport, and more. But he's written a lot about Manchester as well, so we could do him in the Manchester or Bristol section. So let's just add him to our list. Charlie Watts. Charlie. Manchester or Bristol. So Gareth Butterfield, Midlands, freelance writer. He mainly writes about like how to. But he basically mainly writes adverts, so I'm going to say no to him. That was Charlie Watts again. Emma Dukes. Liverpool World. But she is a good option though. So Emma Dukes. Emma Dukes. Emma Dukes. I'm going to go Liverpool. She would run. Ethan Davies. Local Democracy reporter for Manchester, so he'd be perfect. Oh, we've already got him. Okay. Then we've got the last one. We've got the Manchester News, which. So, no, not really. Two. This is all prime, but let's see who wrote that. It's just Council News. It's just Council News. Okay, but then from the excuse me, from the Outlook Fast Approach, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and it's taken us way less time. And we're also guessing like national, industry, and regional. Whereas for the first approach, we were basically just getting national. So you get like a much more diverse range of people. So the advantages of the topic first approach are it's quicker because you don't need to double check journalist mock rack and kick out the ones who have written about your thing once, but it's not really their beat, as you've already established their beat by searching for them because they're in the right section. You're going to find journalists who are writing about your pitch topic right now rather than 6 months ago, so they're going to be more relevant. You don't need to rely on headline ideation, which can be really difficult, and a lot of people screw up, including myself. So because of these advantages, I generally use the outlet approach first, the outlet first approach when I can. The only time that I use the topic first approach is when I have no idea what kind of outlets I want to be approaching, and I need to just sort of hunt blindly in the dark for journalists who have written something that something similar to what I've written. And in all honesty, if you're prospecting like that, then you probably haven't ideated your campaign properly, because you should have a good idea of the type of journalists you want during ideation. That should be part of the ideation. And if you're just swinging for journalists who have written, once about your topic, it's kind of a sign that you haven't thought the whole thing through properly. So instead of starting with Google News and a similar headline, just ask yourself, what outlets fit my story? Think local, think industry relevant, think topic relevant, or think, national news. Which journalists within a national outlet could cover this? Who's beat match mine? Go to those outlets, go to those sections, and find the people writing for those sections right now. You can still use Google News plus topic as a starting point if you don't know what outlets you've got next, but just doing it all through Google News and similar headlines, it just takes so much time, and it's so bad for things like local angles and very niche industry niche angles, that 90+% of the time the outlet first approach is just a better way to do it.